This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, fellow students. Thank you very much for coming to do a peer review on my final project for the class, Managing Machine Learning Projects. Just so you know that this was an actual project that I had a few years back, and we did do a lot of machine learning on it. So this course was definitely made for me, trying to hone those skills. So going through the class material for the opportunity evaluation, the oncology group of a large healthcare company that also owned pharmacies and sponsored some doctors and medical groups did not have a way to be able to see what medications were working on specific types of cancers with patients. So this was a big deal for everyone involved, for all the stakeholders, the insurance company, the pharmaceutical company, the patients, the doctors, the drug companies. Everybody was involved in this particular project. We did end up successfully completing the project and be able to create a dashboard using Tableau. I didn't think that was part of the project here, so I didn't mention it in writing. So anyway, we take the information that was given to us from the several different sources. Some were using DB2, some were using Hadoop, two different versions of Hadoop. We had to create a semantic layer and join the information together and then import it into a data warehouse called Teradata. And then from Teradata, we used 1 million records, and we did the 60-20-20 split to be able to train our model and to be able to test our models. We did a lot of different exploratory on what was actually a feature that was matched or had a correlation to another feature, or to put it in actual terms, what drugs were working with this kind of cancer? Was this type of cancer also being treated with this other kind of drug, and so forth? It was a very interesting project for me. It was near and dear to my heart because I had lost family members to cancer. And my thought is to help prevent that from other family members or other people, patients that have family. This would be great for them to be able to know that this is being done for them and for their loved one. So we took the information, and again, we wanted to show the drugs for the different patients and for the different cancers, and then also was hospice being called in time? Was hospice being called too late? Another thing that we ended up seeing was in our actual data was that a lot of patients, or I shouldn't say a lot, I should say many of the patients were not going back for follow-ups. So we had our customer representatives give the patient a call to find out why they weren't going to their planned doctor visits, and we found that the problem was transportation. They didn't have the transportation when they needed to have the transportation to go to their follow-ups. So we enlisted bus services, like usually that are used for seniors. And the company I worked for did this at their own cost. They got those bus companies involved and picking up the passengers and taking them to their doctor's appointments, and then, of course, taking them back home. Another thing, too, that they did is while they had the passenger, if the passenger so desired, they could take them to different physical therapies or different social groups so they can meet and talk and try to liven up their spirits. I thought that was very nice with this insurance company. So we had a good understanding of the business problem, and we had a good understanding of the data. So we did expect a lot of errors and a lot of the data not meshing together. We were totally expecting that because, again, it's coming from different sources, different companies, different models. So we knew that it was going to give us problems, but we waded through. We expected a 50% loss in the end of total data. We pulled together almost at the end of the project. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but there was, just for your information, there was 380 trillion records in our final database. spanned cancer patients and their medications for a span of 10 years. And when our best model could only join together only 50% of that data, even finding only 50%, it still took us 2 weeks to transfer the data, once we had it, to transfer the good data up to the Google Cloud platform and then build the Tableau. So again, we understood the data, we understood the business need, we understood that it was going to be a longer project, again, because of the problems and the risks, the dependencies. We did, again, evaluate several different models to try to find out the one that produced the best and had the best correlation. Once we got all the data together, we started meeting with the business almost on a daily basis to try to make sure that we were tweaking it with the hyperparameters to be sure that we were tweaking it to their needs. And again, we did make a design on the model. We decided again that we were going to be using an offline model to be able to update, or an offline training model, because there's so much patient information that is being added. We wanted in this model, or in this database, that we didn't want to slow the servers down in any way during their working times. So we did offline training, batch updates, and a lot of versioning control, as you can imagine. So that was our system design. The potential risks in the production, of course, again, the different databases, different companies that were involved were constantly either updating the softwares that they had, and sometimes a field would change, causing a problem. And again, we had to adjust our model. We also talked to their IT departments and their modeling, or their IT people, and got them to work with us so that any changes, they would contact us so we could be prepared and maybe have a version ahead of time and be ready for them. It was a lot of collaboration between a lot of different companies. Also, looking at some of the legacy data, or the 10-year-old data, again, we didn't have the IT systems that we have now, so a lot of the data had changed and it just was not usable. It's a real shame because, again, we lost 50% of the data. I don't want to say lost it. We couldn't use 50% of the data. The data was still there, but we couldn't use it. So our model may change over time as the new drugs and methods are being introduced almost on a monthly, weekly basis. We do see a possibility of data drift, and what we've done is we've set one particular group of stakeholders with a chart and a graph, so they have been instructed on how to use that graph and graphs. So that way they can notify us of any needed adjustments or changes. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much, and I really enjoyed this class. Thank you all. Have a great day, and good luck on your reviews. Thank you.